last year. Now with Montreal, he has 5 hits and 12 trips in 3 games, so he has quite an auspicious debut in a Montreal uniform, left-handed batter. He's .315 for the season with 5 RBIs, facing Mario Soto, who checks the sign from Diaz into the windup, and the first pitch of the ball game is a breaking ball in for a strike. Lee Wire is the home plate umpire tonight. Dutch Rennert is at first base. Ed Montague is at second, and Fred Brocklander is over at third. Soto's 0-1 pitch, swung on, hit high in the air to center field. Eddie Milner moves over a bit to his left, makes the catch, and there's one gone.
Foley looked to be the starting shortstop of the Philadelphia Phillies and was hurt in spring training. Steve Jeltz is a young man that they've felt was going to be all along the future shortstop, but Foley really won the job, then lost it again, and then turned around now that they're feeling that Jeltz is going to play, and they're going to give him a chance up here until Hubie Brooks gets well.
Hubie Brooks may come back on Monday. Mitch Webster fouls off the first pitch, a fastball from Soto for strike one. Webster is a switch hitter. He's hitting .281 on the year with 5 homers and 27 runs batted in. .280 hitter from the left side, so he hits about the same from both sides. Takes a call strike, and it's 0-2. Soto ahead on the count to Mitch Webster, who's got decent power and good speed. He's second in stolen bases behind Tim Raines. Webster has stolen 25 this year. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It's a breaking ball in for a call, third strike, and Webster just watches it. And Soto, with good control early, strikes out Webster, and they're 2 gone. That'll bring up Tim Raines, who's having a tremendous season for the Expos. He leads the league in on-base percentage. Raines is batting .331 with 7 homers and 37 runs batted in. He, too, is a switch hitter, batting .349. It's a left-handed batter. Leads the club in doubles and in triples.
And just a good all-around ball player. A lot of people feel if you wanted to start a team, this would be the guy that you would start with. Very consistent, usually a leadoff hitter, but he bats third.
Breaking pitch is in for a strike from Soto.
He's got to be very happy if Mario can get out of the inning this quick and keep throwing strikes and get them hitting. And, of course, the strikeout, but he's really used a real off-speed breaking ball.
Comes back with a fastball, swung on and missed for strike 2.
This may be the second coming of Randy Jones right here from San Diego.
And Frank Tanana and a lot of other pitchers who have had to change their styles out of necessity. Twice on the disabled list is Soto this year. Tendinitis problem in the shoulder. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It's bounced to shortstop. Kurt Stillwell charges on the run, and the throw glances off the glove of Visaski and bounces off the railing. Raines will go into second base and stop there. Stillwell had to charge that ball. His throw was in the dirt, and Visaski tried to make a backhanded stab, but it was off his glove.
Raines' speed really kind of made Stillwell rush the ball. He didn't have to rush it that much. He made a good play coming in. It really was, his movement was going to first base. Then he tried to get in between the jumps, and his feet kind of were in the wrong position, and as a result, you cannot get on top, and that arm came right over, and Visaski unable to pick it up because it bounced just at the edge of the dirt, cutout, and the AstroTurf.
Stillwell charged with the error. Runner at second, 2 down. Here's Andre Dawson. And Dawson looks at a pitch outside, ball 1. Dawson is hitting .269 with 14 homers and 38 runs batted in. He has been the big stick for several years for the Montreal Expos. And one of the top streak hitters in the game. In the dirt outside, and a good stop by Diaz, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes.
Have you heard much talk of possible trades? I keep hearing rumblings about that. This is his option year, and do the Expos take a chance in signing him as for next year, or can they afford to pay he and Raines together?
Well, it seems that Dawson's name is always on the trade market every season. Swung on, and one hopper backing up Stillwell. His throw to first to Osofsky in time to get Dawson, and the side is retired. There was an error and 1 man left, and after a half inning of play, to score, the Expos nothing, and the Reds coming to bat. On the mound for the Montreal Expos is right-hander Andy McGaffigan. He's 29 years old, a native of West Palm Beach, Florida, 6'3", 195 pounds. He's with the Expos for a second tour of duty, and he came over in in a big trade with the Reds last December. He was 3-3 with Cincinnati last season. And he, like Soto, also relies on an outstanding changeup, and that's what he's been working on.
Well, as Larry Bernard said, he's got to develop that changeup early in the game because they haven't developed it, and they get behind getting the fastball. They get in trouble with the fastball. Then they go to the other pitch, and that's when they really get in trouble. McGaffigan's got a great moving fastball. When he pitched in San Francisco, I could not believe that he did not win more. But he runs the fastball well in on right-handed hitters, and he's got to do that. Too many times the pitcher gets away from doing that because they miss or a guy gets a base hit. The same thing as a hitter in a slump. They start doing things differently, and that can create problems. But he's got a fine arm. Should be a good pitcher for a few years to come.
Ron Oster leading off for the Reds, takes a fastball for a strike. Oster, a switch hitter, batting .256, has 5 homers, 33 runs batted in. He's a .308 hitter from the left side and almost ineffective as a right-handed batter. Swings and grounds it. The shortstop, Tom Foley, who makes a good one-handed stop behind second and throws him out for the first out of the ball game. So Oster, who had been batting in the number 8 spot all season until last night when Pete Rose installed him in the leadoff position, is retired. Brings up Eddie Milner, left-handed batter. Milner hitting .230 with 9 homers and 25 runs batted in. Milner's 9th home run hit last night equaled his one season high. Takes a fastball for strike one.
Kind of took over center field when Eric Davis did not start off the season well, and they've used him exclusively as defense, but his 9 home runs good offensively.
Fouls the next pitch back. No balls and 2 strikes. Third baseman Tim Wallach was playing in. Now with the count 2 strikes, moves a bit back at third. The rest of the infield around to the right, and the same goes for the outfield against Milner.
Reds blessed with a lot of good outfielders, and Milner really has stayed his position.
0-2 pitch, fouled off. On deck is Dave Parker, who's having a whale of a season for the Reds and is tied for the league in home runs. Mike Schmidt. One out. Nobody on base. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and grounded to third. Wallach up with it. Makes the throw across the diamond, and there are 2 gone.
Infield making it look very simple. Both balls hit well, and both short hops to the left of both Foley and Wallach. And, of course, 2 very good gloves, outstanding gloves. Wallach winning the Golden Glove. And another reason why was just that ball last night, because he handled it so effortlessly. I played over at third base here, and I admire he plays like that. I didn't see too many when I played there.
Oh, come on. Dave Parker with 22 home runs, tied with Mike Schmidt for the league lead. 71 runs batted in. He's second in the league in runs batted in, hitting .291. With 2 down, nobody on base, and everyone's deep and around to the right. Infield especially playing back on Parker, who swings and fouls off the first pitch. Strike one.
Pinch hit grand slam was his 22nd home run. And that coming in the abbreviated game, a suspended game that they had in Montreal with the rains. It was the first time I think that rule was evoked.
Here's the 0-1 from the right-hander McGaffigan, and it misses outside. Parker has 6 home runs in his last 10 games and a 10-game hitting streak, so he's on a tear.
Sounds like Mattingly over at New York.
1-1 delivery. In there for a call strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 down. Here in the bottom of the first inning, no score. Just the start of things here at Riverfront Stadium between the Expos and the Reds. McGaffigan gets the sign from Nito. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Just misses away, and it's 2-2.
Got to pitch careful to Parker, but then again, you can't pitch too careful. Davis up behind him has really been on a hot streak.
Here's McGaffigan's 2-2 pitch. Fouled back on the screen. Parker protecting the plate, just gets his bat on it. Good way to pitch to Parker, a lot of people say, is to give him the hard stuff inside and make sure you don't miss.
Now, a lot of people want to do that, but they've got to have a good enough stuff to get inside.
2-2 pitch. Another foul back on the screen. Larry Bernard explained to you in the pregame show, McGaffigan has an average to good fastball, nothing overpowering.
Right now, he's mixing his pitches up pretty well.
Here's the 2-2 pitch with 2 down, fastball, and a good one there. Fouled again, so Parker keeps staying alive, making McGaffigan work. Tommy Helms is the first base coach for the Reds. Billy DeMars is over at third.
Drives a catcher crazy to have a guy make such good pitches, and like Parker, it's just fouling them off, and they're not aggressive swings to do that.
2-2 pitch and another foul ball. Out of play. Behind home plate. Krenchicki at first, Al Newman at second, Tom Foley at short, Tim Wallach at third. Defensively for the Expos, the outfield, Tim Raines in left, Mitch Webster in center, and Andre Dawson playing a deep right field. Nieto behind the plate. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Another fastball, and guess what? Another foul ball out of play.
And a better swing. McGaffigan trying to throw strikes. He's 2-2. He's got a better chance of missing than making that pitch right there, because Dave kind of mediocre swings. That time maybe he's finally loosened up, and you don't need much to loosen up here tonight, Dick. It is warm enough for anybody.
Steamy night in Cincinnati. Here's McGaffigan again with the 2-2. Another fastball. Got this one up, and Parker fouls it out of play.
You are keeping count of the foul balls, aren't you, tonight?
Yeah, 32.
32. Norman, do you have a guess? You want to write down a guess for the total foul balls in the park tonight?
Right.
32. We have a tie at this point.
I would say that there are enough souvenirs for 1 inning. 2 down, nobody on base, bottom of the first. Here's the 2-2 pitch again. And another foul ball out of play. McGaffigan giving Parker a steady diet of fastballs. He's getting most of them up. And Parker.
Well, we have 8 in that one section right there. If we get all of them to stand up right now and hold the balls up. Yes, all right. There's 2, 3 in the same row.
Eric Davis is on deck. One of the big stories in the National League and for the Reds this year. Again, the 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3, and there was the fastball that he got inside, and Parker swings and misses. So McGaffigan had to work, but he got Parker 3 up, 3 down, and after 1 full inning of play, it's the Expos nothing, the Reds nothing. We'll back in just a moment.
Well, 4,000 something yen per year.
A lot of people go over there and have a good time and good finish to their careers. Tim Wallach leading off in the top of the second inning for the Expos, hitting .263. Wallach with 16 homers and 57 runs batted in. Ground ball hit to the shortstop. Kurt Stillwell makes the play over to first base, and there's 1 away. Wallach a lot more productive at this stage of the season than he has been at any point in his career, but he's retired. 1 gone, and here's Wayne Krenchicki, the left-handed batter and a former member of the Reds. In fact, we could be saying that all night. It'd be a broken record. A lot of players on both clubs had played for the other team. Krenchicki, one of them. He's hitting .248 with 2 homers, 12 RBI.
Well, they came over in the trade, and they've had to use him at first.
Takes the ball.
And, you know, he was a third baseman in the Cincinnati Reds, went to the Tigers. They said he really didn't have enough range to play, and then he was traded, and he's done a pretty good job at first for them as he looks at another pitch outside. You know, Wallach, I was watching him going down to first base. He seemed a little bit be bothered by the heat, but he's played 92 games.
3 balls and no strikes as Soto falls behind to Krenchicki, who broke in with the Baltimore Orioles system. Al Newman, the second baseman, is on deck for the Expos. No score, top of the second inning here at Riverfront Stadium on a hot, muggy night. Soto's 3-0 pitch is a fastball in there for a strike. Soto 3-8 on the year with an earned run average of 4.11. He had a losing year last year as well at 12-15. Next pitch is popped up, foul, and it'll go out of play behind the Montreal dugout. And the count now is full at 3-2. Soto, Dominican native, has the sign. 3-2 pitch. Fastball hit in the air to right center field in the gap, and it's going to go off the wall and over the fence for a ground rule double. So Wayne Krenchicki gets a hold of a Soto fastball and drives it to right center field off the warning track, and the first base hit of the ball game. And the Expos have a runner in scoring position with 1 out here in the second.
Krenchicki filling in, as we talked, he's got a good power. Hits the ball well, line drive type hitter. Went to the University of Miami. Played down there. And Mario got behind him. Looked like he was trying to be a little careful with him, not letting a former teammate get a base hit so no one will have bragging rights. But he hit that ball well.
Here's Al Newman, the second baseman, a switch hitter. Crouches at the plate and takes the first pitch for a ball. Newman is hitting .235 with a homer and 7 RBIs. .226 as a left-handed batter. Soto checks Krenchicki, the runner at second. Comes back with a fastball up high, 2-0. 1 out, Krenchicki on at second base. Third baseman Buddy Bell is even with the bag at third, and the shortstop Kurt Stillwell is shaded over towards second. Here's the 2-0 delivery. Fastball. And it's chopped to second base. Ron Oster makes the only play possible to first. There are 2 gone as Krenchicki moves to third.
You know, the veteran players, having seen Soto go up there and kind of expect the fastball, they have to make an adjustment because they're throwing a lot of off-speed stuff and not the good fastball. In fact, Scott Breeden, the pitching coach for the Cincinnati Reds, somewhat concerned. He makes his way to the mound to ask Mario, are you really feeling okay? Let's not take any chances here. And Mario really using a lot of off-speed off the off-speed, and that's kind of unusual. The fastball has not been thrown well yet. Maybe he's got something in his mind. He's just trying to go out there and maybe be able to go past that 80-pitch mark that they would like him to throw. And, yeah, the meeting breaking up. Lee Wire going out to get Bo Diaz.
Well, we'll see if Breeden went out and told Soto, asked him, like you said, is there any problems? And if not, why don't you just rear back and see what happens? So Tom Nieto, who was just recalled from Indianapolis of the American Association, right-handed batter, batting in the number 8 slot tonight. 2 down, a runner at third. First pitch is a breaking ball outside. Ball 1. Krenchicki doubled with 1 out, moved to third on a ground out. On deck is the pitcher Andy McGaffigan. No score, top of the second inning here in Cincinnati. There's a fastball on the outside corner, and the count 1-1. Soto won 17 games in 1983. That was his winningest year with the Reds. He was 17-13. Check that, he won 18 the next year, and he fell off to 12 last season. Pitch breaks outside, and it's 2-1 now. Of course, Soto with first base open and the pitcher on deck, not expected to give the catcher Nieto anything good here. They play him straight away in the infield and in the outfield. Changeup is up high, and it's 3-1.
Up on the board says the Reds scored 3 runs in the 8th inning on a pinch hit homer by Gus Bell. Gus, Cincinnati native, living here, and of course, Buddy is his son, now fulfilling his dream by playing in Riverfront.
3-1 pitch is grounded to third. Buddy Bell up with it across the diamond in time for out number 3. So the Expos got a runner to third, but don't score. No runs, a hit, and 1 left after an inning and a half. No score in Cincinnati.
Herr Schultz in Vienna?
Speaking.
Hear you loud and clear, sir.
Good.
I'm calling Al in Kansas City, and we'll get this conference call in gear.
Ausgezeichnet.
Hi, customer relations.
Al, this is Ned.
Hey, Ned, hi. Too bad we can't get Herr Schultz in Vienna in on this conversation.
Al, good news there. I'm using AT&T Alliance teleconferencing service.
What's that?
Well, it's a new...
Oh, forget it. I'll call Schultz in Vienna and tell him what we talked about after we talk about whatever it is we're going to talk about.
Hello, I'm on the line.
Hey, who's on the line?
It is me.
Hey, pal, this is an important business call.
Well, I know that.
Al, I'm using Alliance teleconferencing service.
Fine, I just hope this fathead gets off the phone.
Fathead?
Yeah.
Al,
What?
AT&T Alliance teleconferencing gives you a crystal clear connection with up to 58 people simultaneously.
How efficient.
All I did was call 0700-456-1000 and got step-by-step instructions.
Boy, if we had something like that, we could be talking to Herr Schultz in Vienna right now instead of some nosy jerk from who knows where.
Vienna.
Vienna, you still on the line, lame brain?
Al.
Listen, Balinsky.
Alliance Teleconferencing Service. Simply pick up your touch-tone phone and call 0700-456-1000. AT&T, the right choice. Here's a medical fact. Any active male can get it. That itching, burning, chafed, irritated skin you have is called jock itch. Jock itch is an infection, so it can't be washed away or soaked away. Even showering won't help. What you need is Cruex. Cruex is the powerful antifungal medication with clinically proven ingredients to soothe irritation and relieve itching, chafing, and burning. Cruex. Cruex cures jock itch, and that's a fact.
Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
This is KB Radio. WWKB Buffalo, a Price Communications station.
And let's identify ourselves. This is Johnny Bench along with Dick Stockton here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati for the game tonight between the Montreal Expos and the Cincinnati Reds. And one hit to show for the Expos at this point. Had a ground rule double by Wayne Krinchicki in the top of the second inning. And McGaffigan set the Reds down in order by fanning Dave Parker to end the inning and making some good pitches that pitching coach Larry Bernard said he had to make to go with the live fastball using the changeup. And Dick, here comes a guy that has set the league afire, especially in the last few weeks.
Eric Davis, who has a 17-game hitting streak, the longest current streak in the major leagues, and it equaled Tim Raines of the Expos, the longest in the National League this season. Eric Davis is on a tear. He's hitting .309, 15 homers and 37 runs batted in, 51 stolen bases, has been caught only 5 times. Good defensive player, as John mentioned, and gives you just about everything you want. Right-handed batter, into the windup. McGaffigan, and the first pitch is a fastball fouled back on the screen. Good live fastball. He has to throw it in on his hands if he possibly can. Eric has had problems in there to some degree. But when he's on a streak, that bat just starts to fly. Hit the ball out of any place in the ballpark, and a lot of people just hope that he walks or gets a single so they can watch him run. McGaffigan into the windup, and the pitch to Davis. Another fastball in on the fist, fouled off again, and it's 2 strikes. Davis and Ray Knight were the principals of a kind of a brawl, you want to call it that, between the Mets and the Reds in the game that you were talking about at Cincinnati earlier this week. And Davis and Knight just squared off at third base, and then everyone joined the fray. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Davis. Took something off the pitch. It's fouled at the plate. Stays alive, 0-2.
Yes, they were, and it was unfortunate. I hate to see fighting in any baseball game. Some people, unfortunately, get carried away and start throwing it around. And, of course, when you get men competing against one another, we see it in tennis. We see, unfortunately, things happen like that. It's very disappointing, but you might as well just circle them and let the two of them fight and get it over with.
Fastball rides away, and it's 1-2 now to Eric Davis.
Wouldn't that be great just to have, okay, guys, hold it. All right, let's put a circle here. You two guys get out there and get it over with.
Of course, that wouldn't happen. They wouldn't fight then. It's only good if you can just claw around and people pulling people off. There's a ball hit to shortstop. Tom Foley makes the play to first, and Davis is retired. And there's one away. So 3 of the 4 outs by the Expos. McGaffigan have been ground outs. So there's 1 out. Bo Diaz, the catcher, coming up. Diaz hitting .254 with 4 homers and 28 runs batted in.
You know, you're always doing well when they put the stat sheets and they put Davis on the run and more Davis. Yeah, you know you're having a pretty good week at that point.
And the worst is when they don't put you down at all.
Yes.
Diaz, a right-handed batter, standing deep in the plate, swings and misses. Strike 1.
The lady in Atlanta didn't have a lot of things to put down, and when she didn't, she just put down things that weren't so good. So they said, forget that. Chuck said, I don't want her down here writing on my paper.
Got to be positive. McGaffigan coming back 0-1, and a fastball line to center field. Going back is Mitch Webster. There to make the catch. And the first fly ball issued by McGaffigan, but they're 2 down for the Reds here in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up Buddy Bell, popular third baseman. Bell hitting .256, 7 homers and 34 runs batted in. Of course, you mentioned Gus Bell and that 1956 Cincinnati Reds team that had 221 home runs, and they had power at every position at Crosley Field, and anyone could hit it out.
And off the bench as well. Guys that weren't the regulars hit in double figures.
Bell looks at a breaking pitch for strike 1. Remember Ed Bailey from Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, behind the...
Now a councilman, I think, running for mayor in Knoxville.
Fastball on the outside corner, and it's 2 strikes to Bell. 2 down, nobody on base.
Buddy Bell had 1 RBI May the 8th. Since that time, he's had to raise his average from 164 to this point.
Check swing, and Nieto wanted to check with first base umpire Dutch Rennert on that half swing, and Rennert said indeed Bell checked it, so it's 1-2. Yeah, Bell has come up, and in fact the entire Cincinnati Reds have come up. They were really down in the dumps hitting-wise early in the year. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Buddy Bell. Fastball, and it's grounded to third slowly. Tim Wallach up with it, makes the play, and another 1-2-3 inning for Andy McGaffigan. And after 2 full innings of play, it's Montreal 0, Cincinnati 0. Well, in the American League, the Boston Red Sox were beaten at California today, but the Yankees, with a chance to pick up a game and cut the Red Sox lead to 3, couldn't do it and lost to the Twins. So the Red Sox still have a 4-game lead in the American League East.
Red Sox would like to get off the West Coast.
And they're going to after tomorrow. Andy McGaffigan, the pitcher leading off for the Expos here in the top of the 3rd inning, looks at strike 1 from Mario Soto. McGaffigan has 2 hits and 26 trips to the plate and 1 RBI. Right-handed batter facing his opposite number, Soto. Swing and a miss on a slider, and it's 2 strikes. Expos have made a lot of roster changes. Of course, they made one this week. Dan Schatzeder was traded to the Phillies for the on-deck hitter, Tom Foley, as McGaffigan takes a breaking pitch outside 1-2.
Larry Sorensen also part of that trade. And Skeeter Barnes.
1-2 breaking ball.
Barnes was a former Red.
Yeah. And you can go right down the lineups and the rosters here. You can say that. These teams, you may say, know each other very well.
Got Vance Law listed over here, 2.25 ERA.
He pitched last night. Fastball, and it's fouled back on the screen. 2 balls and 2 strikes to McGaffigan. We're in the top of the 3rd inning here at Riverfront Stadium. The Reds and the Expos, no score. Soto against McGaffigan. Facing each other right now. The 2-2 pitch, fastball, and he got a piece of it, so he stays alive. Ron Hansen is the first base coach for the Expos, and Rick Rennick is over at 3rd. Montreal, 5 games over 500, but 15 behind the Mets going into tonight's activity. 2-2 pitch, strike 3 on the outside corner, and that'll be the 2nd strikeout for Soto.
You got to be pleased right now with Mario Soto throwing strikes. Usually a pitcher who comes back and relies on the fastball a lot usually misses on the outside corner. You see him throw a lot of balls, and you're really not discouraged by seeing that much. But right now, he's getting ahead of hitters with the off-speed pitches.
Tom Foley, the leadoff batter, up for the 2nd time, takes a fastball inside, ball 1. Foley fly to center field his first time up. I told you he made quite a splash coming over to the Expos, had hits his first 4 plate appearances. Pops this one up to the center of the diamond. Buddy Bell is there right behind the pitcher's mound to make the catch. Quickly 2 gone. Only 1 hit in the ball game, and that was a double by Wayne Krenchicki, a ground rule double to right center field. He was stranded at 3rd in the 2nd. And with 2 down here in the top of the 3rd, it brings up Mitch Webster, who was Soto's first strikeout victim. Parker plays him deep in right field. Infield also around to the right. Bell in at 3rd. First pitch, fastball on the inside corner, strike 1. Reds and Expos are 5-5 between them this year, and they'll complete the season series tomorrow. Next pitch is fouled off behind the plate, and it's 2 strikes to count to Mitch Webster. Soto working quickly and effectively thus far, even though he's gone more to the off-speed breaking pitches than he has to his fastball. Comes back, and a fastball fouled out of play to the left. The Reds, after starting out 4-3 on the year, lost 9 straight and 16 out of 18 before they started to straighten themselves out. Breaking ball is inside 1-2.
Webster I really like. They call him the natural. I asked him that when he was 35 years old. Roy Hobbs. Good-looking hitter.
1-2 pitch. Ground ball, base hit right field, past Saski. And that'll be the 2nd base hit, and it comes with 2 down. 2nd hit off of Soto. Saski going to his right, go for the ball. And Webster is on. Webster has 25 stolen bases, so he may be a threat to run with 2 down, and Tim Raines coming up for Montreal.
Every time I mention a guy doing well, he mentioned Bell, he hit the ball to Bell. If you mention a good hitter, he gets a base hit.
What are you going to say about Raines?
Well, maybe paying me to say, can't this guy get home for hits a lot of home runs?
Tim Raines, 22 doubles and 6 triples. Saski holding Mitch Webster on at first base. Soto will have to pay attention and throws over there, and Webster is back. 2 down. Webster at first base. Top of the third inning, no score here at Riverfront Stadium between the Expos and the Reds. To the stretch goes Soto. The runner bluffs, doesn't go, and the pitch is taken for a ball, 1-0.
Bo Diaz blocked off because of Tim Raines standing between in between his vision of the Mitch Webster, and Webster made a pretty good bluff. Bo came out and had the ball almost out of the fingertips released before he really picked up Webster not running. And I've seen guys, I myself, have tried to stop, and that ball just shoot out of there.
1-0 pitch up high, 2 balls and no strikes. Soto wants a new baseball and gets it. Andre Dawson is on deck. 2 down, Webster at first. And the count 2 balls and no strikes. So Raines, checking with the third base coach Rick Rennick, should get a pretty good pitch here.
Well, Mario, knowing how certain hitters do against him, will be a little bit more careful than normal. His career record against the Expos is not good at all, and most pitchers know that. You know, Mario also has problems with St. Louis. When you have a problem with a ball club, you pitch defensively.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. The runner goes, and the ball is hit to right field deep. And turned around is Parker, and the ball is off the wall. Rounding third, Webster will score easily, and Tim Raines will go into third base standing with a triple, and the Expos lead it 1-0. So for Tim Raines, his 38th run batted in, and his 7th triple of the season. Webster was running, got a good jump, but it didn't matter. Raines hit a shot over the head of Dave Parker. So it's 1-0 in favor of Montreal. And the second hit this inning off of Mario Soto, and that'll bring up the dangerous Andre Dawson with 2 down and Raines at third.
Had no chance at all of getting Webster on the move like that. Of course, Raines with his speed, you know, if you're a guy staying in front, there's a real good chance that you could get caught.
First pitch to Dawson. Bluff to bunt and takes a fastball outside, ball 1. Infield and outfield playing back against Dawson. Expos have jumped ahead of the Reds here in the top of the third inning, 1-0. They have 3 hits. Soto checks Raines at third. The next pitch is shot in their left field for a base hit. Raines will score. The ball gets by Eric Davis in left field, and cruising into second base will be Dawson. It'll be 2-0 now in favor of the Expos on Dawson's 39th run batted in. Let's see how they rule. That'll be a 2-base hit. Quite a shot off a fastball by Soto, past Bell and past Davis. So a double for Andre Dawson, and it's 2-0.
What happened was there's a little seam out there and during football season they roll the seats around, Dick, and they go out there, and that becomes the football field throughout the yard line as Wallach hits it into right field.
Base hit to right field, and rounding third is Dawson. The throw is cut off, and now they have Wallach trapped. And Asaski, trying to run him down, puts the tag on him to retire the side, but not before the Expos stage a 2-out rally with a single, triple, and double. And 3 runs score before Wallach is tagged out, and after 2.5 innings of play here at Riverfront Stadium, it's the Expos 3 and the Reds nothing. They're third in the league in hitting. They've had some pitching problems as Nick Asaski leads off for the Reds and fouls off the first pitch for a strike. Asaski, the number 7 hitter, right-handed batter, batting .240 with 6 homers and 16 runs batted in. So McGaffigan has staked to a 3-0 lead. Comes back 0-1, and the ball breaks inside 1-1. So Webster singled with 2 out. Raines tripled him in. Then Dawson doubled off the left field wall for another run. And then Wallach singled to right field and was out 9-3. As Parker threw to Asaski, who finally tagged out Wallach. Pitch misses for a ball, 2-1 now. 3 runs on 5 hits. No runs, no hits for the Reds, who have made the only error in this contest. Here's the 2-1 to Asaski. Swung on in line to center field. Base hit, dropping in front and getting by Mitch Webster. Asaski rounds first and goes into second. So the Reds have their first base hit of the ball game, and it'll go as a single and an error. Error charged to Webster, And the score 3-0. Osaski is on at second base with nobody out.
Well hit. And of the AstroTurf, that's what Mitch Webster is used to playing on as far as that. And when that ball just shoots out, you get so close, you have no chance of catching it. And it's such a line drive that it can shoot and skip off of there. And at close range, the ball actually picks up speed. And that's what happened to Webster.
Here's Kurt Stillwell, the number 8 hitter, the shortstop for the Reds. And he lines it to center field. Webster is there making the catch. Osaski goes back to second and there's one out. So Kurt Stillwell, a switch hitter, batting as a left-handed hitter, going after the first pitch of fastball. And there's one away in the third. 3-0, the Expos leading, and the Reds are batting in the bottom of the third inning, and it'll bring up the pitcher Mario Soto, who has been up 20 times this year and has 1 hit. And that was good enough to drive in a run. So Osaski on at second base as a result of the Reds' first base hit and a Mitch Webster error in center field. McGaffigan checks Osaski at second. The first pitch to Mario is a breaking ball missing. On deck is Ron Oster in the top of the order for the Reds.
Pitcher going out there with a 3-run lead sometimes changes his pattern. That's where you can get in just as much trouble. Both balls hit well by the first 2 hitters.
Fastball lined into the right field seats. The Expos have had to go to their bullpen so much that Vance Law worked briefly last night for Larry Bernhardt and manager Buck Rogers. And after the game, Rogers said, well, now the bullpen is rested, and now we can go into our bunch out there. In the dirt, missing outside 2-1. And, of course, they've got a great stopper in rear.
And an upcoming one in Vance Law. 3 games he's pitched 4 innings, right. Only given up 3 hits.
Got a good ERA.
2.25.
Sure.
There's a lot of guys right now would like to have that.
Like both of tonight's starters.
Yes.
To name 2. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Soto. And it's chopped to shortstop. Charging it is Foley. Makes the play to first base in time. Osaski moves over to third, and they're 2 away. 2 gone in the third inning. And the Reds, who are trying to get into the scoring column, have a run 90 feet away. And here's Ron Oster, the switch hitting second baseman who grounded to shortstop his first trip. Coming into today's play, the Reds were game behind third place San Diego, but even in the loss column, 7.5 behind Houston. Astros leading the Giants by 2.5. McGaffigan checks the runner at third. First pitch is a fastball, fouled off, strike 1. 3 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for Montreal. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 error for Cincinnati. Oster has hit safely in 17 of his last 20 games. And a base hit here would bring the Reds to within 2 runs. Check swing. They check with the third base umpire. And it'll go as a ball, 1-1 the count.
6-game winning streak in this division can turn things around from one week to the next. You really have to stay in it. It'll go down to the last week the way the race sizes up at this point.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fouled off again, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And, of course, when the first place team, Houston, 11 games over 500, not quite as imposing as the kind of records the Mets have, or for that matter, the Red Sox in the American League East.
I've seen some hockey divisions where the
losing record, you can win the division. Here's the 1-2 with the runner at third. Swung on and missed strike 3, so Oster strikes out. That's the second strikeout of the game for McGaffigan, and the Reds leave a runner at third but get their first hit of the ball game. And after 3 full innings of play, it's the Expos 3 and the Reds nothing.
So you remember it. I'd like to say a special hello to Steve Carlton, who gave up the 3 home runs that day.
Sure, he's listening avidly.
Soto goes to work against Wayne Krenchicki, first baseman, and Wayne swings on the first pitch, hits it high in the air out to Eric Davis in left field, and 1 easy out. Soto on a 80-pitch diet at this particular point after coming off the disabled list. Found a little problem last inning after he got the first 2 men out very quietly. Then it was a single, triple, double, and a single by Webster, Raines, and Dawson and Wallach. And Wallach got caught in a rundown, but not before Dawson had scored, and the Expos were ahead 3-0. Al Newman now steps to the plate. Looks at a breaking ball down and in. Lee Wire, big 6'5" umpire behind the plate. Maybe that 6'7" might be closer to it. He calls a strike on another breaking ball, and the count evens at 1-1. Farmer's night here as Mario Soto gives his best pitch, and he got a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. Good umpire to work to tonight. Wire, a pitcher's umpire, has a very wide plate. There's a fastball grounded towards second. Oster up very quickly and over to Sosky, 2 down.
Of course, if you're saying that Wire is 6'7", then Newman looked like he was 4'7" in comparison at the plate.
Lee went on the trip of this 1977 when we played the exhibition games over in Japan. It was very interesting to watch the Japanese people walk by and just gradually they would just look like, I felt like when I was in New York looking at the Statue of Liberty. That's the way they kind of looked at Lee. Lee cleaning off the plate. We talked about being a good pitcher's umpire as Tom Nieto steps in, the former Cardinal. He looks at a pitch high, but cleans off home plate, cleans off the black, which we call on the black. It's the edge, perimeter, border of the plate, and he cleans them off, and that's exactly what he calls. He doesn't call the high ones, though, and that's what Mario throws. A high fastball, 2-0. Games this afternoon. St. Louis defeated San Diego 4-2. The Cubs beat the Dodgers 9-4. And New York trailing Atlanta 3-2 in the 8th.
That's the first of a doubleheader in Atlanta.
And I think they got some pitchers of importance up there that they're looking for. Last night they were rained out. Houston did not score in the first against Philadelphia. San Francisco shutting out Pittsburgh 6-0. A little action around the major leagues. We'll try to keep you up to date. Soto misses with a slider.
Dwight Gooden pitching for the Mets and trailing. And, of course, a lot of the press in New York talking about the problems Dwight Gooden is having, which only goes to show it's in comparison to what, right?
Well, I mentioned Frank Cashin. I thought he was throwing different at the All-Star game. And then some talk came by. Soto misses inside, and he walks the 8th place hitter. Something that doesn't please too many people. Got Benchicki on the first pitch, and he got Newman. Now he's come back to walk, and that's just a concentration problem. Now he's going to have to work out of the stretch, and Sosky will back up and not even hold Nieto on as Andy McGaffigan comes in for his token appearance. Chokes up about 5 or 6 inches, and now backs away from the plate. And the ball on the outside part for a called strike. Outfield a little deeper than I think they should be at this particular point. Choked up with that much in the swings he had on the last occasion, and was it a check swing? Yes, it was. That's Rennert, one of my favorite umpires. Down at first base, Lee Wire checks, says no. Big crowd on hand tonight for Farmer's Night. Had a milking contest. Dick alluded to that earlier. Soto works back, foul off at the plate. Marge Schott joined in, Dick, and I guess that's one of her appearances that she makes during the year. She said she got the hang of it, but the contest was over at that point.
Well, you know, in New York City, we don't see too many of those contests in Madison Avenue.
Soto works back, slider, strike 3, and that does it for the Montreal Expos. They got a runner on board via a walk, but they got no runs, no hits, so the runner left, and after 3.5 innings of play, it's the Expos still shutting out the Reds 3-0. Ball high. We got the American League scores in. Minnesota has defeated the Yankees, so they don't take advantage of it. 8-4, the losers. Baltimore again, and watch out, Orioles 2-1. This may change Weaver's mind. Oakland beat Toronto, shut them out 2-1. Milner swings at a fastball, does not get it, 1-1. Milwaukee at Seattle later. California, of course, this afternoon, defeating Boston 4-1. Roger Clemens may go into a 2-day rotation. Never knowing for sure what Mac wants to do over there. Johnny Mac, the manager. McGaffigan back with a pitch and hit right off the end of the bat. Tom Foley over. He won't have time, though. He made a good play. He had to run around it. The ball cued just past Wallach, and Wallach playing on the line in front of the bag at third base. Hit off spinning. Sort of hooked around there. Looked kind of like Norman was talking about his slice. was about that left-handed slice and playing a little bit up the middle. Foley had to go around it, but it's a base hit for Foley, and the Reds' second hit of the ball game. They're going to have to get some offense going, and this is the way they do it. Get a guy on or two in front of Parker or Davis and take off from there.
Well, for the second straight inning, they have the leadoff man on with a base hit. Only, unlike last inning when they had the bottom part of the order up, now they have their power. Parker, Davis, and Diaz to follow.
Gaffigan tosses over to Krinchicki. Milner, somewhat of a threat to steal. Got good speed, not a great base stealer. Kind of surprising, but that's the way it works sometimes. Gaffigan works to Parker, who fouled off about 12 pitches to about 9 to 1 section over there. Looks at a breaking ball around the corner, and it seemed like he got better swings every time until the last one. McGaffin got that moving fastball by him, which was the first strikeout. He has 2 at this moment. He throws back over to Krinchicki. Milner, 8 stolen bases. 7 times he's been caught. So Nieto may be tested. McGaffigan with a decent move. And, of course, they don't want to take too many chances of giving up runners in this situation. Let the boys hit the ball out of the ballpark. Let them play hardball. Organ pounding and the hands clapping. McGaffigan at the belt and a high fastball. Parker. Eyes lit up like silver dollars right there on that one. A little bit out of the strike zone and up, but he went after it anyway. He 1-1 the count.
We talked about how McGaffigan, the former Red, is in his second tour of duty with the Expos. Actually, he was drafted by the Reds in 1974, but he decided to go to junior college in Florida and then was signed with the Yankees in 1978. And as you mentioned, pitched with the Giants for a couple of seasons before going to Montreal and then to the Reds. Well traveled.
There goes Milner. Ball swung on. Popped up down the left field line. It looks like it's going to be out of play, but when it gets down in that corner, the wind sometimes will blow it back. Dave Parker, 20 doubles, 22 home runs, 71 RBIs. And there goes Milner again. Fastball this time popped up in the infield area. Wallach going over. Will he have room? Right at the dugout. The steps of the dugout makes the play. McGaffigan showing good stuff again, battling Parker, who's been on a hot streak himself. Dave's not particularly happy as he brings that big lumber back.
Miller got a good jump.
Well, there's no way with the way that Dave Parker stands that he can even see or hear Eddie Milner, so he's not really concentrating much on that. I doubt that he looks down and see if Billy DeMars is giving a steal sign. He's up there to whale, and if he gets that ball in the gap, as we saw when Mitch Webster was running and Tim Raines got the ball in the gap, easily scored. Could have been a little bit differently. Get the men in motion, get the defense moving around, and get the boys up there to swing the bat. Eric Davis stands in. Eric grounded the shortstop the first time up. McGaffigan giving up 2 hits. Slider swung at and missed by Davis. 0-1. Riverfront Stadium sits on the Ohio River, right across the river, Kentucky, airport in Kentucky. Built in 1970. Moved in around June the 30th. Beautiful place to play the game of baseball. There's a slider hit on the fist. Newman had to come in and get it on one hop. Milner, good speed, got him down there, and Newman took the sure out. Boy, what a good ball. Good pitch by McGaffigan and right on the hands. In Japanese, you say itai, which means, ouch, that hurt. You got in my kitchen. I can't get around on it. It has many various meanings. And he hit it on one hop, and that was kind of a flare hop to Al Newman. Newman making the play, and Bo Diaz stands in. There's a ball hit the ground to left field. Eddie Milner rounds third. Tim Raines is not even bothered to look at Eddie Milner, and the good speed of Milner getting down to second base creates a run, and they're able to close the gap at 3-1. Diaz, his 29th RBI of the year. And Buddy Bell stands in. pitch hitting by Bo Diaz. Short and third, hit well on the ground. Kellner, who runs the bases well, does not steal particularly well, but good speed gets you around the bases well. Rounded third, and no chance for Timmy Raines. McGaffigan now stands at the mound. He's at the belt. Pitches a breaking ball over to Bell. Strike one.
It's amazing how things can change in a hurry. Here the Expos have a 3-0 lead, but now Buddy Bell, who has good power, is the tying run at the plate. And it's early here, just the 4th inning. 2 down.
They hit 3 home runs last night. Bell looks at another pitch on the outside corner, and McGaffigan must be changing speeds very effectively because they're starting the bat, but they're not able to go ahead and take a full rip at it. Bell hit a home run here last night. Diaz leads away. McGaffigan this time a breaking ball, off-speed pitch, just missed outside.
There's been, of course, a lot of talk about Pete Rose, who is hitting just a bit above 200. Fans, some of the press saying maybe he should hang him up. Rose says, I know when that time will be. Your thoughts?
Bell looks in for the pitch. And laces one into center field. Mitch Webster will get over in time to cut it off. He has no worry about Diaz scoring. And Buddy Bell, ground rule, a double. I was going to say a ground rule triple might help Diaz score because of a bad ankle and not the very best of speed, but a ball hit in the left center field. Mitch Webster over to cut it off in time to get it back in there, but not before Bell slid in for a double, and Diaz stands at third base. Here's Osaski and Tom Nieto out talking to Andy McGaffigan. Dick, what happens is that he started off so slow hitting, and he felt like he had been through a very tough spring training. He felt like he was affected by that. He felt like his hitting would get up. Then all of a sudden he started getting some hits, and then he could say, yes, well, I'm hitting the ball now, and I have only good on-base percentage. And a guy with a lot of pride will not ever give in, and Pete Rose will never do that. McGaffigan misses with a pitch outside. So if he's hitting 180, 190, as take time out for just a second as Buck Rogers comes out to the mound. But when he starts to hit, then he'll say, well, I'm hitting 300 over the last 10 games.
Of course, I don't think, and you know this being a player, that any outside force should tell you when to retire. I mean, that's one of the things. How many times have you heard fans say Floyd Patterson ought to retire? This guy should hang it up. I mean,
exactly.
No one should ever tell anyone else when they should give it up, whatever reason it is they want to continue to play, whether it's financial or pride or whatever.
Well, you're never satisfied if you do it because everybody else wants you to. But
puts the pressure on.
We may be seeing something here as Osaski has played for the last 4 days, and Osaski takes a fastball for a strike. Buck Rogers wanted Nieto to stay at home plate as he talked to McGaffigan, and I think Pia realizes he's at the crossroads after this many years. I think, it is unbelievable that he could have played this long. McGaffigan works back and a good slider. Bad pitch, bad looking swing by Osaski, who's been bothered by thigh injuries. Muscles within the thigh has really given him some problems. But he's got the pop and the punch to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they kind of expected great things of him. If he gets on a streak, he can carry this ball club, and he just went after a slider, and the ball gets away from Nieto. Nieto's going to have to take his time. He's got time, and is able to get Princicki at first. After 4 full innings of play, the Reds do score. It's 3-1. We'll be back in just a moment. Balls and a strike, and not a bad move, I think, getting Tom Foley.
I'm really pleased with this one. I think we've made a fine acquisition.
Soto works again, a fastball on the outside corner. I really have liked him for so long. Never got really a chance because of Dave Concepcion, and got hurt in spring training with the Phillies. Looked like he was going to be the starting. Has not had many opportunities, and not sure what you want to do with Hubie Brooks. He's had such great years, and there's a fastball looked at on the outside corner, and Lee Wire, known throughout baseball as being a pitcher's umpire. And when you hit that black out there, because you get about 2 more inches from Lee Wire than you do from about any other pitcher. 4 strikeouts for Soto, but Foley, I think, can do the job for you day in and day out. And let's that's a decision that you have to make.
The Brooks problem, I'm not sure how severe it is. He unfortunately has 2 injuries on that hand instead of 1. He has a stone bruise on his thumb, which is a fairly severe stone bruise, and then he somehow has injured his middle finger in swinging.
Mitch Webster, the hitter, takes a ball inside, now swings it, one pops it back into the stands. And Mitch Webster, a good ball player for you. You've got a pretty good decision coming up, Jim. People are talking about, in fact, do you sign Dawson? Do you trade him now while you can? And, of course, the race seemingly almost out of hand.
Well, we're a long ways from the Mets, to be sure.
Webster swings and doesn't get it.
I think in the case of Raines and Dawson, we have indicated to them both as early as spring training that we want them, we want to re-sign them, we want them to be a part of the Expos, and that's the feeling we extended to them. It's the premise upon which we're going to operate in discussing contracts with them.
2 balls, 2 strikes as Webster looks at a ball go high, and the ball club really kind of hurting, I guess, like a lot of ball clubs in the league, as Soto comes back with another fastball. Strike 3, got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts. In fact, that's 3 in a row for Soto. His 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And it seems like there has been a lot of injuries, and I don't know if my theory is that they work out too much on too many new muscles on too many machines.
Johnny, I remember managing in the minor leagues years ago, and I don't remember pulled muscles. I don't remember disabled lists. I really don't understand what's happening. I think that we have become too sophisticated in all our training methods, weightlifting procedures. I know there were an awful lot of players played in the 50s and 60s who didn't go in for all that and played all the games.
Are you trying to tell me that Babe Ruth had a high body fat count? Ball high to Timmy Raines.
I doubt that Stan Musial did much more than just get ready to play the game by practicing the skills that you perform with in the game.
Raines 1 for 2, tripled in the first run, and now hits one way high and deep. Will it stay fair? Yes. Dutch Renner gives the old round ball job, and there's Tim Raines. Home run number 8 for Timmy, and RBI number 39. Said he drove in the first run in the 3rd inning with a triple, and now comes back and hits a towering drive into the green section that bounced down below. And there's a guy that has the greatest versatility because he's a leadoff hitter, deluxe, great on base percentage, and then a guy you can slide into third position in the order.
You know, John, I don't think he's reached his full potential. I have felt that one of these years that he would lead the league, that he would not hit 330 or 340 and lead it. I've always thought that he was going to hit 360 or 70. I know those are big numbers. He doesn't bunt. He can bunt. I think that there's more there than you see, and I really believe that one day he's going to become the player that his ability would dictate that he be.
Is Timmy's agent listening? A drive hit back into center field. Milner on his horse, 2 steps on the warning track, and he has it. Well, Soto strikes out the first 2, gives up a 9th home run to Timmy Raines, and now Andre Dawson drives him back to the wall. The Expos come up with a run on 1 hit. Jim Fanning, we certainly want to thank you for joining us. Good luck to your ball club. I tell you, being in second place is great, but 15 games is a little too much.
Thank you, John.
After 4.5 innings of play, it's now the Expos 4 and the Reds 1. At the time, and helped develop what I guess was the Big Red Machine. You've taken credit for that for many years.
Oh, we'd never drawn $2 million until I got here, and then we did it every year for a while, so I figured that was the only reason.
Andy McGaffigan, I tell you what I'm doing. I'm telling stories like that, and it's with an outside curveball, strike 1. Stillwell swings at the next pitch, and it stopped taking McGaffigan long. Stillwell flew out to center field, and Rob Murphy warms up in the bullpen. Soto really, I guess, expected to go only about 80 pitches or a certain number of pitches into the 5th inning. Here we are. A lot of problems as far as the disabled list this year. Concepcion, of course, being injured. Isoski just off of it. Missed with a fastball in. And can you bring us up to date what might happen with Joe Price or maybe Tracy Jones?
Well, Tracy Jones is making pretty good progress. He's eligible to come off the end of the month.
Back over the dugout.
Another 5 or 6 days, and it looks like he's probably going to be ready to start playing then. Chris Welsh, who was our most consistent starter after he came up from Denver, and then had that trick thing with while he was batting, his little torn cartilage in his knee, and locked up on him.
Fouled at the plate by Stillwell. He hangs in 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And they did arthroscopic surgery on it and went in and snipped the cartilage out, and he's just been making tremendous progress and has started to throw a little bit already.
McGaffigan works. There's a ball hit well back into right field. Kurt Stillwell. Oh, right at the wall. Andre Dawson one-handed, and I got to tell you, I thought that was going to be it for Kurt Stillwell. Stillwell would have been his first major league home run, and I'm sure he had some feelings going around in his stomach as he hit it well. A ball he turned on the inside part of the plate, and Dawson all the way back to the wall, one-handed, and he ran into the wall. And good play by Dawson. It's going to be Cal Daniels standing in for Mario Soto. Daniels in at 320, 2 home runs and 10 RBIs and another outfield they've got to decide what to do with, Jimmy.
Yeah, he's a tremendous hitting prospect, and he's been our top pinch hitter, which is a little unusual for a young ball player. He's at 500 as a pinch hitter, 6 for 12, I believe, and done a real good job in that role.
Well, there's a ball shot down the first base line. They're really going to have to hurry. They won't get him. They did get him. Dutch Renner, no, Dutch is asking him. He said, make the call. Dutch asked Lee Wire, and Lee Wire has the call between home and first. And Dutch Renner has the call at the bat. Now he's going to ask him, did he make the call? Is he going to ask Lee Wire to make the call if he wanted to call it? Lee said, no, it was your call, so he called him out. Now, whether there was a tag play or not, Pete Rose wants to find out. And, Jim, you have had so many problems with umpires this year, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and several of them have been plays right down the first baseline like that. Now, that's a play right there where Rennert was over in foul territory, and he could not see whether the tag was made or not when the runner went by, and he was looking for help and didn't get any.
The ball took one chop off of near the plate, then bounced again. And from the angle that they're showing in a replay, and they're just giving Dutch Rennert a chance to make the call, he actually is just telling him, you make the call. And it looks like he got him. He did get him. But Dutch Rennert saying, that is not my call, a tag play between home and first. And I believe that is correct, Jim. Is that right?
Yeah, I think because of where he has to come to on a position, he can't really be sure where that tag is made, while Lee Wire is looking right down the line and would presumably have a better angle.
Well, one thing about it, you've got 2 of the better umpires in this league, as far as I'm concerned, making those calls. It's kind of questionable sometimes out. But as far as Dutch Rennert is concerned and Lee Wire, I would say that they are a lot of times, more than most, above reproach.
Yeah, they're both outstanding umpires, no question about that.
Well, Rennert has made the official call, and Pete Rose back in the dugout. McGaffigan now goes to work, hits with a breaking ball to Ron Oster, 0-1. McGaffigan working quickly again. Breaking ball this time down in the strike zone. 1-1. Got a big road trip coming up, Jim. You go to the West Coast after this.
Right. We get back into the Western Division now for the next 20-25 games, and that's going to be a very dog-eat-dog type of thing, as it's been all season, with the way the race is so tightly packed, and everybody's been playing Eastern teams for a good while, and now we're going head-and-head for a while, so that's going to be very interesting.
Oster fouls back to the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Another high fastball fouled by Oster. Well, it's tough to figure out which ball club you're going to put on the field from about 10 games to 10 games. You play like world beaters, and then all of a sudden it turns around. You get a couple of bad calls, and it seems really to affect the ball club.
Yeah, it has had that effect so far. The team has not really reacted well to a lot of those things.
Fastball again fouled off by Oster. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Welch, and then, of course, Joe Price is coming back very soon. Could make a difference as far as needing pitching, and Oster hits it well towards center field, the biggest part of the ballpark. Mitch Webster up there. Jim, we want to thank you for coming by. 1, 2, 3 inning. What can I tell you? You're going to have to choose better innings than that. Jim Ferguson, publicity director for the Cincinnati Reds, and after 5 innings of play, it's 4-1.
The Reds, of course, Mario Soto worked 5 innings, and now 25-year-old Rob Murphy, a left-hander, is now in for the Reds, making his 6th appearance of the season. He has no record. He has finished 2 games and has worked 7 innings.
Murphy goes to work. Tim Wallach up there for Miss Shart, who wants to get a trip to the World Series, hoping that Tim Wallach, who has 16 home runs up to this point, and he'll be followed by, in the order, by Wayne Krenchicki. And there's a ball hit into right field. Deep to right field at the warning track. Here's Parker. He'll make the catch. Wallach flies deep to right field. Murphy in. Murphy to this point 0-0, 0-point ERA, 5 games he's been in, 7 innings, 2 hits, and that's a very creditable job. Wayne Krenchicki is called back to the dugout. Vance Law, who platoons with Krenchicki, steps to the plate. Law, sometime relief pitcher. We were kidding him about being the Terminator 2, listed on both the front and the back. Steps in with a 206 average. 3 home runs, 32 RBIs, son of Vance Law. Stands deep in the box, rocks back, pops it up. Foul territory. Ossowski, does he have room? Over by the bullpen, yes. A little over-the-shoulder catch, and Vance Law quickly out, number 2. Starting to cool off here a little bit. 8:33 local time here in Cincinnati. Clouds forming. Rain was predicted this evening. I'm not sure which side the front's going to go on, the lower side or the upper side. If it goes on the lower, we get cool weather. If it goes on the upper, we get hot weather. And a lot of times here in the valley in Cincinnati, it goes and just misses us completely. Al Newman missed that one completely and didn't even swing at it. Ball on the outside part of the plate, strike 1. Nice crowd on hand for Farmers Night. Milking, cow chip throwing. None of the players do it. It was kind of a new thing to my colleague here, Dick Stockton. Thought I was kidding him about cow chips. Mom and Dad probably are back home out in Oklahoma, probably laughing at it this time.
Laughing at me.
Yeah, well, a city boy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take the country out of the boy, you know. Of course, I'm not sure you need all that either. Breaking ball by Eddie. Had him way out front.
Well, we turn the fire hydrants on and get the water coming out and take a little bath with that in the streets. Cleans off the streets sometime.
We have a fire hydrant in Binger, I think. Hit on the ground. Stillwell up with it. Has time to Ossowski, and quick inning for Rob Murphy. And a quick inning for the Expos. 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 5.5 innings of play, it's the Expos 4, the Reds 1. All on the outside part of the plate. Moving pitch that Eddie Milner takes another step out. Not sure what to expect. Cued it off the end of the bat. Just past Wallach that Foley was able to pick up. And this time Foley's not able to pick up that one. Hit off the fist up the middle. And Foley, who doesn't know now which way to shade Eddie Milner. He hits it one way, he hits it the other way, and look under the shell, which is the shell game.
So 3 of the last 4 innings, the Reds have had the leadoff man on by virtue of a base hit. And once again, they have the heart of the order coming up, trying to come back, and we have activity in the Montreal bullpen as Buck Rogers not taking any chances here in the 6th.
Well, McGaffigan has had fairly good success with Dave Parker up to this point. Struck him out in the 1st inning, then popped him up to Tim Wallach in foul territory as he batted in the 4th.
Right-hander Tim Burke begins to throw down the left field line for the Expos.
Young man who has had plenty of work over the last 2 years, 78 ball games last year when he set the rookie record for appearances. Very durable. Mostly was there to set the table for Jeff Reardon, the Terminator, who came in and won the Rolaids Fireman of the Year award last year. McGaffigan pitches a high fastball, and Parker chased it a while ago. Well, if he chases it once, he may chase it again. And keep throwing it there or climb the ladder. Sometimes you can work it up. Parker stands back, put the leg between his legs, and sort of shakes his arm to try to relieve the tension. Hot weather get you a little upset, especially when you're 0 for 2. Dave stands in now at batting at .290. McGaffigan fastball down in the dirt. Nieto has no problem handling that one, but Lee Wire wants to take a look at it, tosses it out of play.
Keep in mind, Parker has got a 10-game hitting streak on the line tonight.
And 71 RBIs, and that's just behind Mike Schmidt. Schmidt in with 74 RBIs, hit his 22nd home run last night to help to defeat the Houston Astros 4-2. McGaffigan works quickly again. Fastball hit down the left field line, and there it is. It's going to be gone. Home run. And once again, the ball hit down that left field line. Looks like it's going foul, and it's straightened right back up again. I don't know what the wind when it blows out. Haven't seen it happen that many times because we never had left-handed hitters who could hit it that far.
You're right. That ball looked like it was going to slice foul, and all of a sudden changed direction and looked like it was going to hit the foul pole for sure, and then landed fair where it wasn't even close to that foul pole. So Parker's 23rd home run gives him the National League lead, and the Reds are right back in it, trailing by 1.
Only one now behind Mike Schmidt. And that's how quickly it happens when you get some guys swinging the bat. And Buck Rogers may have seen enough.
Expos 27-year-old right-hander Tim Burke, who is making his 50th appearance of the season, all in relief. He has worked 72 in the third innings. He has won 7 and lost 4 and an earned run average of 2.24. He has allowed only 4 homers in those 72 innings. He has struck out 56 and walked 38. In his last appearance on Thursday, he worked 2 innings, striking out 1. And he worked the Wednesday game in which the Mets beat the Reds 3-2 and was the losing pitcher, working an inning in 2/3. He has worked a lot and has been successful. Basically a sinker-slider pitcher, Tim Burke.
Well, a sinker-slider, and that's what he's going to have to throw to Eric Davis. Eric, one of the problems the other night. 4-3, the Expos scored 3 runs in the third inning after 2 were out. Mitch Webster singled. Tim Raines then tripled him home. Andre Dawson doubled. Free cop out in left field that Eric Davis got by Eric Davis. It was ruled a double because of the bad hop off the edge of the carpet. And then Tim Wallach lined a single into right field. Andre Dawson scored. The throw was cut off by Nick Ossowski, and they tagged Tim Wallach as he was caught in a run down between first and second. They scored their 4th run in the 5th, and that was very quick. Soto struck out the first 2 and then threw a home run pitch up to Tim Raines. Reds scored a run in the 4th. Eddie Milner with a single, Diaz with a single, and Bell with a double. And Tim Burke quickly comes in, throws a ball to Eric Davis, hitting at .306, and now the 2nd and 3rd runs as we got some scores, Dick.
Giants leading Pittsburgh 9-0.
Ball missed out away.
Philadelphia over Houston 2-1 there in the 3rd inning in Philadelphia. The Mets were beaten by Atlanta 4-3 in the first game. Not yet underway in the second game. The Cubs beat the Dodgers 9-4, and the Cardinals over San Diego 4-2.
Burke works inside 3-0, and the fans start to cheer here because they want to see Eric Davis on base. And Dick, I don't know if you've had a chance to see this young man run, but it is unadulterated, illegal type of stuff. Why do they let these guys come out and make a catcher look like he has no arm at all?
Only 3 catchers have thrown him out all year.
Well, Burke going to try to go to work and throw a strike and make the defense work. And boy, here they go. Look at them. They're jumping up all over the stand. They do want to see him go. And really, that's what started the fight the other night when he stole second, stole third, slid into Ray Knight. Ray kind of gave him the knee and pushed him away. And then he got up and a little hot and pushed him back just a little bit of an elbow. And then Eric Davis was jumping in as something, and Eric Davis did something just prior to that. And before Eric Gregg got there, the right hook came up from Ray Knight, and boy, they looked like a hockey match. There were so many gloves over the field. Looked like everybody had thrown their gloves off like at the rink. Here's Diaz, and there he goes. I mean, he could stand up on this one, folks. That is no chance.
That's his 52nd stolen base in 57 attempts. Most steals, by the way, by Cincinnati Reds since Dave Collins stole 79 6 years ago. And that one was a piece of cake for him. And an Important runner it is because now the tying runner's in scoring position. Still nobody out here in the 6th.
Well, Diaz rolled, go the other way. Got a base hit, drove in a run. The only run that the Reds have scored and had scored up to this inning. Al Newman bluffs in. Burke not making any kind of move, and Eric Davis 1 foot well on the carpet. Going to give Diaz a chance to get him over, and he flies it deep into center field. Mitch Webster on his horse, way back off the top of the wall. Davis will score easily, and Diaz goes in with a double. And he hit that to the deepest part of the ballpark, just to the left of the 404 mark, and only about a foot from the top of the wall. All he was trying to do at that point was hit the ball into right field. And he stayed with the pitch. Looked like it was a slider that he hung out there and hit it straight away. And Davis, of course, he could go back and stand at the dirt. They had plenty of time if the ball was hit anywhere out of Mitch Webster's reach.
Diaz has hit the ball solidly now 3 times after lining out to center field. He has a single and a double, 2 RBIs, and the Reds, who were trailing 3-0 and then 4-1, have now tied it up here in the 6th inning with 3 runs. No activity in the Montreal bullpen, and now they start to stir.
Buddy Bell will stand in. Buddy 1 for 2, a double. As he fouls one off at the plate since May 8th, Buddy has hit all of his 7 home runs and driven in 33 of the 34 RBIs. We talked about Milner had scored.
And we have activity in the Reds bullpen as well.
Ron Robinson, the red-headed stranger down there. They call him the true creature. Diaz a short lead, and Buddy Bell takes a pitch on the inside part of the plate. True creature in the bullpen down the right field line, Tommy Helms, and Bob Sebra, who got a win the other night in extra innings against the Reds, pitching the 13th and 14th inning. A right-hander, he goes to work down there. Looked like he said knuckleball, maybe he meant forkball. Ball on the outside part of the plate. Timmy aiming it right now. Maybe he did mean something like a forkball. I haven't seen Bob Sebra pitch. He just called up, got a win very quickly, and catcher doesn't have a real big mitt down there, Billardello. I'm not sure that he wants to catch a knuckleball with that glove. Anyway, Buddy Bell, 34 RBIs. Waits on the pitch as Burke is at the stretch. But he tried to go to right field with it, fouled it off into the stands. Fairly good catch over there. Tie ball game here as we work in the bottom of the 6th inning. Andy McGaffigan cruising along up until the 5th inning. Reds at that time had only 4 hits and 1 run. Now all of a sudden we talked about the offense, the middle part of the offense by the Expos. Now we're talking about the middle part of the offense of the Reds, and it has created runs. Bell grounds it, tries to reach out and hit the right field, but the breaking ball got him out front. He grounds to Foley, and Foley throws him out. Diaz has to stay at second base, so with 1 out, Bell did not quite get the job done. And sometimes not the easiest thing to do. So maybe he's just trying to go for a base hit, especially when the game-winning RBI could possibly be standing at second base. Ossowski got a base hit in the 3rd inning, struck out in the 4th. The 3rd strikeout victim of Andy McGaffigan. Once again works. Slider fouled off at the plate. McGaffigan threw Ossowski a steady diet of curve balls and got good results from it. Tim Burke working back the same type of pattern. Was still well up behind him there. It would be very unwise to give him too good of a pitch in this situation anyway. The Reds, after 6 innings, if they're winning, 29-5, 7 innings, 36-4, and after 8 innings, 34-2. They were 34-1 up until a couple of days ago when Parker dropped ball, allowed the Mets to tie the ball game, and as a result, they lost it in 14 innings. Breaking ball ball down low.
Howard Johnson's home run won it for the Mets that particular night. But the Braves beat the Mets, and Gooden in the first of 2 in Atlanta.
Well, Gooden was the losing pitcher. It looked like they had number 42.
So that would be
That'd be
McDowell,
the young kid, McDowell.
Right, Roger McDowell.
There's a slider, hit well over here. Dick, make that play. Well, this day in Reds history, 1978, I hit my 300th home run. That was a big day for me today. How about that? Could I stand up and wave? Well, they're looking the wrong place, folks. It's over here. I'm over here. We got about 7 or different groups that are doing it, so we'll wave. Put the banner back out that says Johnny lives here, would you, please? Burke works back again. Diaz off to a good lead. Fastball down and away. Tried to make a good pitch, but just missed a little bit low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You couldn't have been happy that day, though, really. The day you hit the 300.
Well, I did it strangely enough. I hit it to right field in Shea Stadium.
No, the Reds lost to the Mets 13-2. That's why you were despondent, right?
Oh, that's why I didn't remember. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Nino Espinosa. Well, he got him with the slider that time. Ossowski strikes out for his second time in the game. That'll be the first strikeout for Burke. So with 2 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Kurt Stillwell, who took Andre Dawson back to the warning track, a ball that would have landed off the wall, thought was going to be out of the ballpark for his first Major League homer, stands in. He's 0 for 2. He flew out to center field. His first time up in the 3rd, and as we said, flew out to right in the 5th.
Bob McClure, a left-hander, joining Sebra, the right-hander in the Montreal bullpen. Robinson still throwing for the Reds down the right field line.
Well, Oster stands out on deck, and maybe Lee Wire will notice that, because you really have to have a pinch hitter out there. Your pitcher should be standing out there in the on-deck circle. He definitely won't hit if they get a chance to use it effectively. Fastball low, overthrown a little bit. Nieto has a tough time hanging on to it. Gets it back. Burke cleaning the mound a little bit. Not real happy with his landing area. Wind blowing out towards right, which means it would hold up the ball in right field. Ball down the left field line will hold. When it blows in, that's when the ball really swoops down and gets out of here in a hurry. Fastball swung on, and Stillwell once again felt like he had a chance of going out of the ballpark. Hard swing by the youngster. I'm not sure that Stillwell shaves at this point. Young kid, when you look at him, looks like he reminds you of the son that you were supposed to come on. Bud Anderson, father knows best, used to come home to.
He's a native of Thousand Oaks, California, Jim, which is the training camp of the Dallas Cowboys.
How can one guy look so young and another guy who lives out in Thousand Oaks look so old to be so young? George Sparky Anderson. George was 36 when he got here. He looked like he was 66. There's a ball hit to first baseman Law. Law says, I'll take it, and that'll do it. So Burke comes on, gives up a run, and that was the tying run. McGaffigan leaves with a 4-3 lead, but Burke comes on, gives up a run, and the Reds have tied it up. After 6 full innings of play, it's all tied up at 4-4. Mound, and now for the play-by-play, here's Dick Stockton.
Thank you very much, Johnny Bench. Tom Nieto, who is 0 for 1 with a base on balls, facing the left-hander Rob Murphy here in the top of the 7th inning of a 4-4 ball game. And the Reds have had a battle back all night, but they've battled back to even terms. First pitch from Murphy, running up to bunt, taking a call strike is Nieto. Mario Soto started, worked 5 innings. He allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 5. Gave up a home run to Tim Raines. Here's the next pitch, and it's low. 1 ball and 1 strike. 4 runs on 6 hits, 1 error for the Expos. 4 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error for the Reds. Murphy with the sign. Comes back with a fastball, missing outside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Murphy is a native of Miami, Florida. He's 25 years old, 6'2", 200 pounds. Pitched in Denver last year with a 5-5 record and appeared twice for the Reds. Montreal has a pinch hitter on deck, Jim Wolford, as the next pitch is check swing, fouled back by Nieto, and the count is 2-2. So that'll be all for Burke and Wolford on the on-deck circle for the Montreal Expos. Buddy Bell is deep at third and close to the line. Same for Osaski at first base, guarding the line in the late innings in a tie ball game. Fastball missing, and the count rides full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the Expos catcher Tom Nieto, right-handed hitter. With the pitcher spot up next, and Jim Wolford in the on-deck circle. Here's the 3-2 pitch to Nieto. It's ball 4 outside, and the Expos have the go-ahead run trotting down to first base. That's the second time that Nieto has walked, and only the second base on balls issued by Reds pitchers tonight. So Jim Wolford will be coming up to pinch hit for Tim Burke. Wolford batting .212. Has 5 runs batted in. He hits to all fields. Right-handed batter, and Bo Diaz goes out to the mound to talk things over with Murphy. And while he does, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves. To the stretch goes Murphy. They look for a bunt. The first pitch is a fastball outside, ball 1, as Bell charges from third and Osaski from first.
Looks like Mike Fitzgerald is taking the place of Wolford. Going to try to get him to bunt him over. Looks like the problem that Fitzgerald has had, not swinging the bat, so they don't want to sacrifice the right-handed hitter yet. They want to just move the sacrifice along, and that's what he's going to try to do. And a good job.
A good bunt. Murphy picks it up, makes the play over to Oster, covering at first base. Perfect sacrifice. Moves the runner, Tom Nieto, into scoring position. So Fitzgerald, who is a late replacement for Wolford, sacrifices. 1-4 if you're scoring, and Nieto is in scoring position with 1 out, and it'll be the top of the order, Tom Foley. Foley is 0 for 3, has hit the ball in the air twice, and was called out on strikes, so he's 0 for 3 tonight. Left-hander facing left-hander. Infield playing around to the right. First pitch is a breaking ball outside, ball 1. 4-4 the score. The Expos scored 3 runs in the third inning. The big hits were triple by Tim Raines and a double by Andre Dawson. Raines then hit a solo homer in the 5th inning. Next pitch is line into left center field for a base hit. Rounding third is Nieto. He'll score easily, and the Expos break the tie and lead it 5-4. And for Tom Foley, who is now 6 for 16 since donning the uniform of the Montreal Expos, who now lead it 5-4. So after all the trouble and scrapping of the Reds to tie it up, the Expos untie it here in the top of the 7th. RBI number 6 on the year for Foley.
Seen him play the last 3 times, and I've seen him pinch hit twice, get base hits and 1 RBI, and then again coming in to fill the need. Not swinging the bat well against the right-hander, but a plus for him to be able to come in and hit left-hander.
Here's Mitch Webster hitting from the right side, and he chops it up the middle and off the glove of Kurt Stillwell into center field. And stopping at second base is Foley. It was not an easy play. It was a high chopping play. And
you can put a right-hander down there because you start getting the lineup up of Dawson, Dwalek, and of course Vance Law, who took over. So now you get 3 right-handers in a row. You couldn't afford to warm anybody up. That Carl Willis comes down to warm up. Webster, hard chopper that the ball really taking off, getting overspin. Scott Breeden out to the mound to talk with Rob Murphy, saying you're throwing good, you're getting the ground ball, just stay with them the way you are. But he's got his work cut out for him as he faces Raines, who hits, as you said earlier, well from both sides of the plate.
And of course Dawson to follow. So Raines, as you mentioned, 349 as a left-handed batter, 296 as a right-handed hitter, and he has 4 home runs.
4 from the right, 3 from the left.
The RBIs are just about even.
RBIs are the same, although he's got 100 less at bats right-handed. He actually has more home runs and only 3 less RBIs, so he poses quite a threat.
So the left-hander Murphy facing the right-handed hitting Raines, who was safe on an error, tripled in a run, and then hit a home run, his 8th of the year. First pitch is a fastball, missing, ball 1.
Nicknamed the Rock. Yes, because when he takes that shirt off, you quickly understand that he is well put together. Well, you have to be able to steal as many bases that he does. He's 3rd in the National League in batting at .331.
Here's the 1-0 pitch, fouled back, and it was interesting to hear from Jim Fanning, who is our guest, and he says we haven't even seen the potential of Tim Raines yet. I'm sure a lot of clubs feel that they hope that they have.
All the catchers in the league anyway.
So Raines right now the batting star for the Expos with a triple and a home run as runners at first and second and 1 out. Expos with a run in leading 5-4. Check swing and the pitch is just low and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Dawson is on deck for the Expos. The 8-0 led off with a walk, was sacrificed by Fitzgerald, who was pinch hitting for Tim Burke. Then Foley singled him home, and then Mitch Webster got a bouncing ball into center field for a base hit. Raines looks at a fastball outside, and now Murphy falls behind 3-1. And do you think if he loses him and Dawson comes up, we may be seeing Mr. Willis?
I don't think there's any question about it, although he's thrown the ball fairly well. You don't have any other recourse but to bring Carl in, and I'm not sure that I wouldn't bring Ron Robinson in at this point. You can't afford to get behind anymore.
Next pitch is fouled off, out of play to the right side, and the count will run full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We've had 2 home runs tonight. Raines with his 8th home run in the 5th inning, and Dave Parker with his 23rd to take over the lead in the National League from Mike Schmidt in the 6th. And that was a 2-run homer and part of a 3-run rally that brought the Reds back in the 6th to tie the ball game. And the Expos have forged ahead here in the 7th. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Murphy getting the sign from Diaz. Here's the 3-2 pitch. The runners go, and the pitch is hit to right center field. Coming over is Eddie Milner, and it's Parker with the catch, and the runners have to scamper back. Looked like Milner had called for it in the last second. Parker reached out and made the one-handed catch in right center field for the 2nd out of the inning, and Pete Rose has come out of the dugout and already has signaled for Willis to come in for the Reds. It was 1 for 3 with an RBI double in the 3rd inning, his 39th run batted into the season. And as we heard from Jim Fanning, Dawson and Raines figure very prominently in the Montreal future. That's their stance, at least at this point. Willis's first pitch is a breaking ball outside, ball 1. The Expos with 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, and 1 here in the 7th inning for their 5 runs. Outfield straight away and deep for Dawson, who looks at a breaking ball again outside, 2-0.
Got to be very careful. Of course, you're out of the frying pan into the fire. Dawson, you walk him, you got to face Wallach. Wallach, 16 home runs, bases loaded. He fought back so hard to get into the game. After trailing by 3 runs, you come back, you tie it up, and then you go back out, and you cannot afford to let this thing get away.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. It's a fastball, and it's fouled out of play. So Dawson had a good pitch to hit there.
2-0, you better be guessing fastball. If you get it, you better swing as hard as you can and hope you get it. Andre has not been swinging the bat well for the last few games of this series, being shut out by the Reds. So he up until the last time at bat. So time before in the 3rd inning when he doubled, but it becomes very frustrating. And Andre does not have a lot of patience sometime and wants to get all those hits back in a hurry.
2-1 pitch, ball in the dirt outside, and the count runs full 3-2. So with 2 out and the count 3-2 on Dawson, Foley at second and Webster in first will be off on the pitch. Carl Carl Willis, the third Cincinnati pitcher of the night. Mario Soto worked 5 innings. Rob Murphy an inning and 2/3. To the stretch. There go the runners. The 3-2 pitch is grounded to third. Buddy Bell is there. Makes the play to first in time, and the side is retired. But the Expos break the tie. They get a run on 2 hits and lead 2. And after 6.5 innings, it's Montreal 5, Cincinnati 4.
3 runs in the third for the Expos. Got them off to a 3-0 lead. Reds came back, scored a run. 1 more for the Expos in the 5th to go ahead 4-1. And then the Reds came up with 3 runs. 2 of them coming on 23rd home run by Dave Parker in the 72nd and 73rd RBI. And then Eric Davis came around to score to tie it up. But the Montreal Expos came back with an RBI single by Tom Foley. And they lead it 5-4 as we go into the bottom half of the 7th. And here's Dick.
Thank you, Johnny. And Wade Rowden will be pinch hitting in the pitcher's spot for Carl Willis, facing Bob McClure, a left-hander whose first pitch misses for ball 1. Rowden is hitting .281 with 10 RBIs. He's been a .350 hitter as a starter and has started at third, short, and left field now and again. Good-looking youngster. Looks at a call strike, and it's 1-1. McClure, a left-hander who has pitched mostly with Milwaukee in the American League, making his 22nd appearance. He has 4 saves. 0-1 is his record, and an earned run average of 3.24. Pitch is up high, 2-1.
Rowden, deceiving in size, thin-looking, but very sinewy, very muscular, and swings the bat well.
Swung it there and fouled it off for 2 balls and 1 strike, and we have double-barreled action now in the Montreal bullpen.
I can tell you the guy with the beard.
Can you tell me the other guy?
Well, he hasn't loosened up to this point because he just now is cranking his arm, so it's not Sebra, I guess.
Pitch breaking low and inside, and it's 3-2. Full count to Wade Rowden. Batting for Carl Willis. So we'll see a new pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds in the 8th inning. Expos lead at 5-4. 3-2 pitch missing, ball 4. And Rowden draws a base on balls and the tying run. Trots down to first base. That is only the second walk issued by Montreal pitchers. And it'll bring up the top of the order, Ron Oster. Oster now hitting as a right-handed batter where he has been largely ineffective this year. It's a left-handed hitter who was 0 for 3, grounded to short, struck out, and fly to center field. Milner on deck. Wallach is playing in at third base, looking for the sacrifice. Here's the first pitch and a good bunt in front of the plate. And McClure makes the only play to Newman covering at first. Good sacrifice by Oster, and Rowden moves into scoring position at second base. The tying run is at second with 1 out here in the 7th.
That is Bob Sebra down there with the Terminator, Jeff Reardon, and you said a good sacrifice, and that's going to bring up another pinch hitter, Tony Perez. You can hear the applause. Go back for Eddie Milner.
Well, one of your teammates from the great days of the Reds, Tony Perez, coming up to pinch hit right now. What about this old fella?
Well, he's too old, but he still does the job. I told him for the last 5 years he's too old to be playing and wanted to give the young kids a chance. Laughed at it again before the game today, and he keeps coming through with timely hits. Just recently got his 2,700th hit of his career, Dick, and I got to say, a guy as consistent as he's been throughout the years. When you look at his record, well, you know, you got to consider him close to a Hall of Famer. If not, I think he is.
He's hitting .222 with 9 RBIs. This is his 23rd year in the big leagues. Tying run is at second with 1 out. The first pitch to Perez misses. Ball 1. Second base and shortstop are bunched toward the middle. The outfield slightly around to the right for Tony. To the stretch goes McClure. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it's fouled out of play behind the Reds dugout. And it'll go 1 ball and 1 strike. Reds scored a run in the 4th inning. RBI single by Bo Diaz with 2 out. Dave Parker hit a 2-run homer in the 6th, and then Diaz doubled home another run and brought the Reds back. They were trailing 3-0 at one point, and then 4-1. They tied it in the 6th before the Expos went ahead in the top of this 7th inning on Tom Foley's RBI single. Dave Parker is waiting on deck. Perez the pinch hitter. 1 out, 1-1 the count. McClure checks the runner. Here's the pitch, and it's fouled again off to the right side. Nearly the same place where he fouled the other one, and it's 1-2.
Houston and Philadelphia in the 6th inning. The Astros trail 3-2. Told you the scores of the other game is San Francisco blowing Pittsburgh away. Reds wanting Houston to lose another one. They're going to have to come back right here and tie this ball game up. You want to tie it up before you even worry about winning it.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Tony. And it's lined to right field for a base hit. Rounding third and scoring is Wayne Robin to tie the ball game at 5-5. And a hand for Tony Perez, who delivers again.
I'll tell you, you're too old, Perez. Get in the dugout. Well, they got to bring in a pitcher. It's a pinch run for him. Scott Terrio, former outfielder, who now is starting pitcher. In fact, he'll be the starting pitcher in tomorrow's game. He's going to go out and pinch run for Tony, and I got to tell you, he's just amazing. They wanted to let him go before the season. They wanted to let him go during the season. They've had votes, and he continues to come through. When they had the vote, Dick, they said he should retire, he should retire, he should retire. He went out and got 4 hits in the next 2 games.
So Scott Terry is running for Tony Perez, who drove in his 10th run with a slashing single to right field. It's a 5-5 game. Parker lifts a high pop-up. Shortstop Tom Foley backing up makes the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. And going back to first base is Terry. So the Reds have had to fight back all night, and they've done it successfully again, and the totals right now are identical. 5 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for both sides. And that brings up Eric Davis with 2 out. Go-ahead run at first base. Davis is 0 for 2 with a base on balls. And he stole his 52nd base easily in the 6th inning.
Parker never left home plate on the pop-up. Not very good, I didn't think.
First pitch to Davis, and he lines it to left field, coming on over his reins, and he makes the catch. A sharp line drive by Eric Davis, but Raines came over toward the line to make the catch to retire the side. But the Reds, Tony Perez, pinch hit single, tie it up, 1 run, 1 hit, they leave 1, and after 7 full innings of play, we're all tied up. The Expos 5 and the Reds 5. We'll be back in just a moment.
Result, Wade Rowden, who pinch hit for the pitcher, goes into play left field. And Eric Davis moves to right field, so the pitcher will bat in Milner's spot.
Tim Wallach, the batter, took a breaking ball for a strike. Now he fouls the next pitch off for strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. Rowden is in left field, and Eric Davis moves over to center field. And Robinson is the 4th Cincinnati pitcher. Mario Soto worked 5 innings, gave up 4 runs. Rob Murphy a run in an inning and 2/3, and Carl Willis pitched the 3rd of an inning and retired Andre Dawson to end the threat in the 7th. We're in the top of the 8th inning. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes as Robinson's next pitch is outside. And with power being inconsistent and not really coming through the way the Reds wanted to, Robinson has moved into his role as the pitch rides inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good stats for the young right-hander Robinson. He has really been the ace, as you said.
2-2 pitch and a ground ball through into left field for a base hit. So Tim Wallach is on with his 2nd base hit of the ball game. He has an RBI in the 3rd inning, 58 run batted into the season. So once again, the Montreal Expos for the 2nd straight inning have the leadoff man on base to try to break this tie at 5-5. That is the 9th hit of the ball game for the Expos. And it brings up Vance Law, who fouled out to Osowski. Takes a strike. They're looking for the bunt. Al Newman is on deck, 2nd baseman in the number number 7 spot for the Expos. So Vance Law, who appeared last night as a relief pitcher, 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter, went in to play first base for Wayne Krenchicki in the 6th inning. And stepping off the rubber is Robinson. Wallach has the lead at first base. Expos with 3 in the 3rd inning. Reds got a run back in the 4th. It was 4-1 when Montreal got a run in the 5th inning. The Reds tied it with 3 in the 6th. And each team has scored a run in the 7th inning. So we're tied 5-5 here. And that's what the season series has been between these clubs. 5 wins apiece. Oddly enough, the Reds and the Expos have better records on the road than they do at home. They have winning records on the road and losing records before the home folk. Throw over to first base. Wallach did not have much of a lead. Zebra and Reardon, 2 right-handers throwing in the Montreal bullpen. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Taken low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bell and Asaski charging from the corners here, looking for the sacrifice. Most of the Montreal hits have come from the heart of the order. Raines has 2, Dawson 1, Wallach 2, and Mitch Webster has 2 hits. Quick throw to first base, and getting back standing up is Wallach.
The true creature, an affectionate name given to Ron Robinson by Pete Rose. Doesn't sound affectionate, but given affectionately.
1-1 pitch is bunted foul off to the right, and the count now 1-2. So Law with 2 strikes, checking with third base coach Rick Rennick. Of course, the Expos are looking for a nickname. They have a contest going with their young, impressive right-hander Floyd Yeomans, who's pitching tomorrow.
Dr. K.
Mr. K.
Mr. K. Good young arm, and that, of course, the sweepstakes is on right now. If you haven't heard about it, you may want to ride up to the Montreal Expos and ask them for information.
1-2 pitch up high, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Give Floyd a nickname.
Well,
that's the name of the sweepstakes.
Whether he gets a nickname or not, I think he's going to be around for quite a while. He's already amongst the league leaders in strikeouts. He has a 10-6 record. Lost a tough one the other night, gave up a home run in the 10th inning. 1-0. To the stretch goes Ron Robinson. Checks Wallach at first base. Here's the 2-2 pitch. The runner goes, and the ball is slapped out to right field. A base hit. Parker charges it on a bounce. His throw to second, and just getting back is Wallach. Ice takes low ball 1, and the Reds have all sorts of plays going on. They have Stillwell covering third base. Buddy Bell coming in from the corners. Ron Oster charging over to first base. What do you think of all the plays when everyone's in motion? There are 2 schools of thought about that.
Well, the worst part is trying to convince the pitcher what he's supposed to be doing. That's why they have to run in. They work on it for 6 weeks in spring training. Then they have to run in and tell the pitcher because he really hadn't paid enough attention to what he's doing. He's got enough trouble picking up signals.
Here they go again. The 1-0 pitch is bunted. And it's the pitcher. Robinson goes to third for the force there. And that play worked. Stillwell covered third, and Bell was in as the ball was bunted toward the third base side of the mound, and a good play made by Ron Robinson, and he fired a third for the force there, and the first out of the inning. So the sacrifice attempt backfires. Wallach is forced 1-6. Law moves to second, and Newman is at first base with 1 out, and the catcher Tom Nieto coming up.
Surprising Nieto will hit in this situation. They've used some pinch hitters up to this point, but they have Billardello and Fitzgerald both.
Well, Fitzgerald hit for Wolford
as catchers, which is really kind of strange because you always get into the situation where most teams only have 2 catchers, but because they have 2 and they've used up the luxury now of 1, now they're back to where they would be normally. And that's giving up a catcher.
Runners are at first and second, 1 out. 5-5 to score here in the top of the 8th inning. Right-hander Ron Robinson checking the sign from Bo Diaz. To the belt, checks the runners, and a pitch, fastball, swung on and missed, strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On the outside corner, strike 3. So Nieto goes down looking. That is the first strikeout by Ron Robinson and the 6th strikeout for Cincinnati pitchers tonight. And right now, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves.
Have to stand in. Looks like it's going to be George Wright. George mentioned to me before the game that got a grandmother out there in Binger, Oklahoma. George, switch hitter. Lee Wire going to clean off the plate prior to...
Safsky flips to Robinson for the out, and the side is retired. Buck pitching by Ron Robinson, who gave up leadoff singles to Tim Wallach and Vance Law. The right-hander's first pitch. High drive to left field. Going back is Tim Raines, and this is out of here. Home run for Bo Diaz.
Ankle must be getting better, Dick. Boy.
And for the first time tonight, the Cincinnati Reds have a lead, 6-5. Bo Diaz with his 5th home run of the year. A single and a double and a home run. 3 RBIs for Diaz. And he hit the first pitch from Bob Sebra over the left field wall. Home run, and the Reds lead at 6-5. Buddy Bell takes ball 1. And they're still buzzing here at Riverfront. 3 for 4 for Diaz. 2 balls and no strikes. As the next pitch by Sebra misses. Bell is 1 for 3 with a double to center field. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Hop up to the infield. The right side. Vance Law is there, and he makes the catch. So 1 out here in the 8th inning, and if you're going to wait to take your first lead of the game, other than winning the ball game, the bottom of the 8th is as good a time as any.
Well, they got their good luck charm, the red-headed stranger in there. Ron Robinson was 7-0, just suffered a loss the other night when he gave up a home run to Kevin Mitchell. As they beat him 3-2.
High fly ball to center field off the bat of Nick Kasaski. Coming on in is Mitch Webster. He makes the catch. And there are 2 down. But Bo Diaz with a high drive home run over the left field fence, 350 feet away, has broken the tie to give the Reds a 6-5 lead, although they've been out hit by the Expos 10-9. Brings up Kurt Stillwell, the shortstop. He's 0 for 3 tonight. The number 8 slot for the Reds. Wayne Rowden batting in the number 9 position. Waits on deck. First pitch taken for a call strike.
John Franco goes down to warm up in the bullpen.
Breaking ball is in for a called strike 2 to Stillwell. 0-2.
Of course, that's just in case, I would think, as they look at the top of the lineup coming up with Foley, Webster, and Raines.
Foul ball.
Don't want to give up Robinson too early. But at the same time, if Stillwell gets on and Rowden gets on, they may want to think about down the line. Of course, the 4th hitter would be the pitcher.
And they could be in a position to get an insurance run or 2. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Check swing in the dirt. And Lee Wire takes a look at the baseball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kurt Stillwell.
Where's Ridgewood, New Jersey? Well, he lives in Vincenttown now.
Right, not far from New York.
Not far.
Sebra, the pitcher. 1-2 pitch and another foul ball at the plate.
Where you used to hang out, really, down at the PX at Fort Dix?
Yes, the main PX, as a matter of fact. Used to read the Sunday papers and bivouac, take naps. Pitches outside. Our fatigue jackets kind of gave it away with a lot of grass stains. 2 balls and 2. You were from Sebra. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and the side is retired, but not before Bo Diaz leads off with a home run to break the tie. Diaz with 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and we go to the top of the 9th inning with the Reds leading the Expos 6-5. UB Brooks has been hurt. Pitch missing, 1 ball and 1 strike on the scoreboard. Atlanta beat New York 4-3 in the first, but the Mets lead 2-0 after 2 innings of the nightcap.
Sid Fernandez. They've already got a relief pitcher in Atlanta, too.
Ground ball to shortstop. Stillwell up with it, makes the play, 1 away in the top of the 9th inning, with the Reds leading 6-5. What an uphill battle it's been for Cincinnati tonight. They spotted the Expos 3 runs in the 3rd, and then found themselves trailing 4-1 before they tied it up with 3 runs in the 6th inning. Big blow is a 2-run homer by Dave Parker, his 23rd, to take over the National League lead from Mike Schmidt. Then the Expos took another lead. The Reds had to fight back, and then Bo Diaz homered leading off the 8th inning to give the Reds their only lead so far. Here is Mitch Webster, switch hitter, takes a call strike on a fastball.
The problem that exists for the Reds right now is the inability of the right-hander Ted Power, as you said, to close the door, to do the job. Now, as Webster looks at a pitch outside, now they've only got the left-hander, and of course Franco does well against left and right-handers, but when you get by the guys that are going to set the table for you, then you face the right-handers. And so it's hard to switch back and forth if you really wanted to.
Especially when you know you have Dawson, the right-handed hitter. There's a line drive to left field. Chasing it is Rowden. And the ball is thrown back in the infield, and then we have a new left fielder out there. Left.
That's Max Venable on left, so we've gone for...
So Venable, we have our 3rd left fielder. Fastball, check swing, and a foul behind the Montreal dugout, strike 1.
Webster faking down at first base like he's bluffing to run, and all that does is make the defense a little bit tighter, especially in the infield. It may make Kurt Stillwell lean toward second, or Ron Oster, and that's all it takes with the speed of Raines and Webster, really, to keep them from getting a forced play and definitely turning over the double play, and also could mean a base hit.
A lot of room on the left side of the infield for Raines. Bell is guarding the line at 3rd base, and Stillwell shaded over towards second. So a big gap on the left side of the infield. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Change up and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. So the Terminator, Reardon, is throwing in the Montreal bullpen. Franco, the left-hander, has been working for a while in the Cincinnati pen. 6-5, the Reds lead. We're in the top of the 9th inning, 1 out, and Mitch Webster on at first base, the potential tying run for Montreal. To the stretch goes Robinson. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball up high.
Home runs in the American League: Grich, Herbig, Henderson, Gedman, DeCinces, Smith for Kansas City, and also Brett for Kansas City. 22nd for Herbig. 18 for Henderson. Must have been a big blow for Herbig as they beat the Yankees. Right now, the Expos are trying to beat the Reds, and this guy at home plate already with 1 home run and leaning at a count at 2-1.
Checking the runner is Robinson. The runner doesn't go, and the pitch is hit out to right field into the gap, and it's going to drop for a base hit, and it gets past both Davis and Parker. Rounding 3rd is Webster. He'll come in and score. On his way to 3rd base, and in standing up with a triple is Tim Raines, and the Expos have struck again and have tied the game at 6 apiece. The second triple of the ball game for Tim Raines, who has 3 hits, 2 triples and a homer, and 3 runs batted in. Pitch just missing, and it's 2-1. Andre Dawson, big threat at the plate. He's the batter with 1 out. Tim Raines at 3rd base. Fly ball. Deep enough would give the Expos a lead. Maybe not that deep with the speed that Tim Raines possesses. Checking the runner at 3rd. Here's the 2-1 pitch. And it's in for a call, strike 2, 2-2. Looked like Dawson was expecting a different pitch.
Well, he ran the ball in on him, and that has been somewhat of a problem for Andre. He got into the habit of hitting solo homers, not being able to produce with that man on 3rd base, which is so all-important.
Here's the 2-2 delivery. Fastball right down the middle for a called 3rd strike. And you couldn't ask for a better pitch than that, Johnny. Fouled out of play, 1-1. The 3rd, Buddy Bell up with it, makes the play to 1st in time. So the Expos, with 1 out, had the go-ahead run at 3rd. But they could not score. But they came back to tie it up. And After 8.5 innings of play here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, we're all tied up. The Expos and the Reds 6-all. After giving up that home run to Diaz in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Reds took their lead for the first time before the Expos tied it up. So here's Venable hitting .236 with 5 RBIs. He pops this one up down the left field line. Foley and Wallach chase it, and it's Foley in fair territory making the catch. A tricky play, going to pinch hit. In the second spot, Tony Perez, pitch hitting for Eddie Milner in the 7th inning, drove in a run with a base hit to tie the game at 5 apiece. So we'll see Pete Rose. Oster is 0 for 3 with a sacrifice. Swings and misses, strike 1. Bob Sebra, the 4th pitcher for the Expos. Andy McGaffigan worked 5+. Tim Burke, Bob McClure, and Sebra down. Working his 2nd inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Missing outside, and it's 2-1 to Oster. Vance Law deep and guarding the line at first base. Wallach 2 steps from the line at third. Breaking ball missing, and it's 2-1.
Then you get Eric Davis up there. Oh, to be the manager.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. Fastball fouled out of play. Straight back by Ron Oster. And missed strike 3, and Oster becomes Sebra's 2nd strikeout victim. That's the 5th strikeout by Montreal pitchers, and now Pete Rose coming up. So Pete Rose batting .208 on the year. He's hitting .201 though as a left-handed hitter. 21 runs batted in all told for Pete. And he comes up with 2 down and nobody on base, and a brief conference between Sebra and Tom Nieto, his catcher. Shortstop Foley plays hit by a pitch. First pitch is inside, and he's hit by it, and Rose gladly trots down to first base.
I don't think Nieto told him that.
He came inside a little bit too much, and I think Pete was looking for any break he could get. He's known for that, and he's on there. And here's Dave Parker.
That's the big mistake right there. Allowing Dave Parker to come to the plate in this situation. Buck Rogers, with nobody warming up, is leaving it up to Sebra to do the job. He said, it's in your hands right now, young man.
Breaking ball missing. 1-0 the count. Parker now with 23 home runs and 73 runs batted in. Pitch to Parker. Good pitch on the outside corner for a strike. 1-1. 1-1 pitch upcoming. Breaking ball missing, and it's 2-1. 34,397 to paid attendance tonight, so they'll miss $1 million by about 5,000, maybe a little less, but they'll get it easily tomorrow in the season series finale between these clubs. Here's a 2-1 pitch to Parker. Swung on and missed, and a big cut by Dave. Slaps at it, and base hit looped out to left field. Rose round second. On his way to third. Raines will go to second with the throw, and Parker is in there. Timmy Raines decided to go to second base. Rose going all the way to third, and the throw just missed, getting Dave Parker, who slides in safely. It'll be a double for Dave Parker. And the Reds now, runners at second and third, but for all intents and purposes, the runner that really means something is Pete Rose, 90 feet from home with the winning run, and sensational young Eric Davis coming to the plate. Davis has a 17-game hitting streak on the line, and he's not going to get a chance now, as the Expos are going to walk him intentionally, which has got to be the play.
Pete Rose, if you're not doing, is you're not looking over towards third base, and you're not getting any kind of problem.
It's 2-0. Diaz has been a hero tonight. Rose is at third. Bases loaded, misses, and it's 3 balls, no strikes. 3 balls and no strikes. And what do you do if you're Bob Sebra? No place to put him. And the winning run. Here's the 3-0 pitch in there for a strike. And Diaz taking all the way. What about now? Do you take now at 3-1?
I wouldn't be taking, but at the same time,
Here it is. It misses. Ball 4, and the game is over. Bo Diaz walks with the bases loaded. Pete Rose comes across with the winning run, and the Cincinnati Reds have scored a run in the bottom of the ninth inning and have beaten the Montreal Expos in an exciting game here at Riverfront Stadium, 7-6.